All right, let's talk about HIV. You've definitely heard the name, but what does it actually do to our bodies? In this explainer, we're going to break it all down. We'll get into what the virus is, how it works, and most importantly, how knowing this stuff actually empowers us to stay healthy.
So before we can even get into a virus like HIV, we got to talk about you, your body. Think about it for a second. Did you know you have your own personal defense team? It's working 24/7, always on guard, protecting you from all kinds of germs.
But what happens when something comes along that is specifically designed to challenge that team? Well, that's where viruses come into play, especially the one we're talking about today.
Now, this defense team has a name you've for sure heard before. It's your immune system. And its entire job, its whole mission, is to be your frontline warrior fighting off any infection that tries to mess with you. So what exactly is HIV? Well, it stands for Human Immunodeficiency Virus. And what makes this virus so different is its strategy. It doesn't just attack randomly. Nope, this thing is smart. It goes straight for the commanders of your immune system, these really important cells called CD4 T cells. You can think of them as the generals of your body's army. And you can see the difference pretty clearly. A healthy immune system, that's a strong team, right? It handles threats no problem. But when HIV gets into the picture, it starts weakening that team from the inside out. And that makes it way, way harder for your body to fight off even the most common colds and illnesses. And this right here is a really crucial point. If HIV is left untreated, it just keeps wearing down that immune system, sometimes for years. And that can eventually lead to AIDS, which stands for Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome. AIDS is the final stage of the infection, and it basically means the body's defense team is so damaged it can't protect you anymore.
Okay, so we know what HIV does. Now let's switch gears and talk about how this virus actually gets from one person to another. Sticking to the facts here is so important because it's the best way to get rid of fear and any confusion.
The virus can only spread in a few very specific ways. The main ones are through unprotected sexual contact or by sharing needles. It can also be passed from a mother to her baby during pregnancy, birth, or breastfeeding. And there's also infected blood transfusions, but thankfully that's become extremely rare in most places because of how carefully donated blood is tested now.
And to be super specific, for the virus to pass to someone else, one of only 4 body fluids, we're talking blood, semen, vaginal fluids, or breast milk, has to get directly into the bloodstream of another person. That's it. That is the only way.
Okay, get ready for one of the most important parts of this whole conversation. We are going to tackle head-on all the myths about how HIV spreads. This is all about replacing fiction with cold, hard facts. So, here's the big question, the one that covers so many common fears. Can you actually get HIV from everyday stuff? You know, like hugging someone, or sharing a drink, or using a public toilet.
The answer is a huge, absolute no. Not at all. It is literally biologically impossible for the virus to be transmitted in any of those ways. Full stop.
Let's just be crystal clear on this. You cannot get HIV from hugging or shaking hands. You can't get it from sharing food or a bottle of water. It's not floating in the air after a sneeze or a cough, and it's definitely not on a toilet seat. Why? Because the virus just doesn't survive in saliva, sweat, or tears in a way that can infect anyone. Everyday casual contact is completely 100% safe.
Okay, we've covered the virus, we've covered the facts. Now for the best part, the solutions. This is where we get to talk about how modern science has completely changed the game, giving us all the tools we need to stay safe and healthy.
And here's the really incredible news. There's this powerful medicine called antiretroviral therapy, or ART. It is so effective that it helps people with HIV keep their immune system strong, which means they can live long, healthy, totally normal lives. It's a real game changer.
So, how do we prevent HIV? Well, think of it like this. Abstinence is, of course, the only 100% certain way. But using things like condoms correctly and consistently is also highly effective. Never sharing needles is absolutely critical. Getting tested regularly, that's an act of empowerment. It lets you know your status and your partner's. And finally, you can even talk to a doctor about preventive medicines like PrEP.
So as we wrap things up here, let's just bring it all home. When you think about the science, the facts, all the modern solutions we have, what do you think is the single most powerful tool we have for staying healthy?
It all boils down to this: knowledge. Just understanding the facts, because that's what gives you the power to make safe choices, and it's what gets rid of all that unnecessary fear. So the message is simple, but it's powerful. Know the facts. Protect yourself. Stay healthy.